arrived at night to a tiny airport where this was the entire baggage claim area. We took an airport shuttle to our new hometown of Avanos. We stayed in the upstairs back section of this old house with our host. You can see what it looks like in our upcoming Worldpackers Cappadocia video. The Kizilirmak is the longest river in Turkey, and it runs right through our little town, creating a beautiful place for walks any time of the day. Its name translates to Red River for the red clay that used to wash into it. It's decorated with artwork from local artisans and is one of the best parts of this small Cappadocian town. The town of Avanos is famous for its ceramic pottery, and it is part of the European route of ceramics, designed to promote the rich heritage, history, and artistic traditions of European ceramics. There's a long island in the middle of the river called the Island of the Geese, which is home to hundreds of geese, ducks, and other waterfowl. The municipality has even built shelters on it for the birds, and tourists and locals enjoy watching and feeding them. On our first day of exploring, we crossed the bridge and walked back on the opposite side of the river, where there's a beautiful little park. You can see the local mosque and hear the call to prayer 5 times a day, just as in Istanbul. You can often find this man playing his clarinet by the water, which is lined with weeping willow trees, giving it a very relaxing feel. To get back to the other side, there is a famous wooden suspension bridge, which can be quite swingy when there are a lot of people on it. They also offer gondola rides down the river if you want to experience a bit of Venice while you're here in Turkey. Since it was April, we were lucky to find that it was also baby geese season, so there were lots of cute goslings to enjoy. This is a low-head dam structure called a weir, which keeps the water calmer upstream for the gondola rides.
Wow.
On this day, we explored the old town of Avanos with our host.
The Avanos ghost town. The old town. Oh, that's really pretty. Look at the detail.
Who showed us all the abandoned houses and cave houses now being turned into hotels for tourists.
And there's caves underground of all these.
It's situated on a mound where rooms were once carved into the rock. He says people are buying these broken down places at high prices to turn them into more places for tourists to stay. This is the old spring where people used to get water.
This was like the town water source before?
Yeah, kind of. Coming from the mountain.
Uh-huh.
The views from the top of the mound showcase the whole modern town of Avanos. The Turkish flag waves proudly from the peak. This street on the way back down has busts of famous Turkish poets, including one who was a professor to our host when he was at university. The streets of the town are a mix of local artwork, tourist shops, and restaurants. On Fridays, they have a bazaar, a big open-air market selling lots of fruits and vegetables. They have some of the biggest cabbages I've ever seen.
Strawberries smell good. It's beautiful.
This row is considered the breakfast row, as olives and cheeses are typically breakfast foods here. They also have clothes, household goods, and other essential items. Then there are bulbs and seeds for planting, dried fruits, nuts, grains, spices, and even Turkish delight.
Big sunflower seeds, man.
Then there is the famous Hair Museum. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records as one of the most unique, or I would say grossest, museums in the world. It was started by accident by this guy, who reminds me a bit of Einstein, back in the 1970s when a female friend of his returned to France and left a lock of her hair for him to remember her by. He pinned it on the cave wall of his pottery shop, and another woman saw it and left him a lock of her hair too. As more visitors came, they added to the collection, which has now turned into a strange display of tens of thousands of locks of women's hair hanging from the walls and ceiling of the cave behind his shop, pinned with names, numbers, and email addresses, because once a year he randomly selects a few to receive an all-expense-paid week-long return trip to Cappadocia. It sounds really creepy, but he says he never expected it to grow into something like this. He's a very talented ceramics artist, and it's a family business. We met one of his relatives who was very kind and let me make my own piece of pottery on his wheel in the front of the shop. It was fun and messy, and amazing how quickly the clay yields to the pressure of your fingers. It's not easy to keep everything even and use the kick wheel, and I'm sure it takes a lot of practice. I was grateful for the experience and the genuine hospitality of the Turkish people. He offered us tea and coffee, didn't charge us a dime, and took us to meet the other relatives and see all the beautiful pieces he had made. This style of vessel, known as Hittite sun jugs, dates back approximately 4,000 years to the Hittite Empire. These unique vessels are iconic symbols of Avanos. Today these jugs are a mark of a master potter, and they are considered one of the most difficult shapes to throw on a kick wheel. These are functioning speakers made from pottery.
Awesome.
Next we head to another small museum where we found a shadow puppet booth where they apparently do puppet shows. These are the shadow puppets. There was a room displaying a loom that they would use to weave carpets and their patterns, which looked just like cross-stitch patterns, only bigger. These stamps were used to decorate cloth. This room was a kitchen with a grinding stone, and this was a cabinet for drying herbs for cooking and medicines. These charming stuffed figures are Anatolian folk dolls. Traditionally, Turkish people prefer to sit low to the ground as cushions are placed directly on the floor, a custom deeply rooted in their nomadic heritage. There's so much history here and so many interesting things to explore, and this small town of Avanos is just the beginning of our Cappadocia adventures.